I will call the Common Council meeting to order. Could we have roll call, please?
Iverson.
Here.
Otzinger. Hanson.
Here.
Gallops.
Here.
Bernert.
Here.
Gotsky. Sorensen.
Here.
Split.
Here.
We have a quorum.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, we thank you for all those willing to serve our community, for all that they give, all that they care about. We ask your wisdom to come upon them, your guidance, open them with compassion, with a sense of togetherness and a sense of what it means for us to be one city, one group of people. Help them in the decisions they make and let those decisions be a blessing to all. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Right. Is there a motion to approve tonight's amended agenda?
So moved. Second.
Been moved by Terry. I heard Doug first on the second. Any discussion? One moment. All right. So all those in favor of approving tonight's amended agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. We had no one signed up for public comment this evening. Moving to the acceptance of informal reports from standing committees and staff. Is there a motion to approve as published?
Wait, we're going to, yes, I'll make a motion to approve them.
Second.
Been moved by Doug, seconded by John. Doug?
I'd like to pull 9 out.
Okay. Well, let's review that right away then. What's your question on 9?
It's not so much of a question as that Jeremy Just, our wastewater department head, has received advanced wastewater operations certification, and I'd like to publicly thank him for doing that, as we do need one, and he did apply, and he should be recognized for that. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion or questions on particular items on the reports?
We should make note, did not get the police report on here.
Chief Wallner's at a conference this week, so we'll have it to you at the next meeting.
It's not a problem, but
Just
if we
make
didn't
note
get
of
it,
it.
we shouldn't approve it.
So take 7 out, so delete 7.
I see that is listed.
Not here this evening is what I understand. Is that correct, Adam?
Yep.
Okay. So the motion should be,
So if we could amend that motion,
to the-
amend that motion to remove number 7. Is that okay with you, Doug
Yes.
and John?
Yes.
Okay. All right, all those in favor of improving the informal reports, with the exception of number 7, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those are approved. Are there any objections to approving the consent calendar as published?
I'd like to pull number 2.
All right, so let's take them one at a time. Is there a motion to approve the Common Council minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the Common Council for July 11th and July 24th.
I will second.
Been moved by Howard, seconded by David. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the Common Council minutes, say aye.
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 Opposed? That is approved. John?
Okay, the reason I pulled number 2 for the certificate of appropriateness for 333 Watson Street is Historic Preservation had their meeting August 2nd, last week, Wednesday, and after reviewing the application and the pictures, the commission was couldn't make a decision on the permit because of not knowing the exact type of railing that was going to go in. one picture shows a solid fenced-in area. The next picture, there's a graphic, a picture that shows 4 different types of railings, 3 different types of railings, and then a light bar. And we had no idea that which one we were gonna approve. So we didn't table it, we just took no action on that application. And we were ready for a special meeting once we got the type of railing that we were supposed to have, or that they wanted. Never got any notice, and I didn't know that this was even going to be on the agenda until yesterday when I got the packet. So this has come up in the past that we've had, and I'll just say an incomplete application, and we've always had special meetings within the next 2 or 3 days so we could expedite the permit. So with that said, my question, I have 2 questions. Where in the ordinance does it state that application can be fast-tracked and bypassing the Historic Preservation Commission? And second, if this is approved today, which I don't know what the outcome's going to be, what will stop the next person or all applicants from wanting to bypass the Historic Preservation Commission and go directly to the Common Council, stating that we're in a hurry to get this permit so we can get the work done? Those are my 2 questions, and I guess I would like an answer
So
tonight.
in regards to where in the ordinance it states it, there are 2 places where it is pertinent to today's discussion. First item is in 20.43.090, the duties and powers clause. In section C, it says that the commission shall review the proposal, and gives you basically 2 options to grant or deny the certificate of appropriateness. It does not give an option for bringing back for later discussion, but reasonable minds could assume that. And then also in same chapter 170, we have section C regarding the timeliness as well. Once the application is received, skipping to the last sentence here, the commission may find the project appropriate and recommend that the council grant a certificate at that time, or shall set a public hearing date within 45 days. So at that meeting, you took no action, and so it doesn't fall into any of these categories. And then clause A of 170 clearly states that the certificate is issued by the Common Council. So it's the Preservation Commission is giving the council the recommendation to
Correct.
grant or deny, but the council issues the certificate.
If you look at letter B in that same 20.43.170, application for certificates of appropriateness shall be submitted to the commission for review and recommendation. The application shall be accompanied by a description or illustration of the proposed work that is of sufficient detail and scope to enable the commission to readily understand the nature of proposed work.
And
That was not provided.
in this application that they submitted to the city, it is the opinion of myself, city administrator, and attorney that it is a thorough application. The question on the fence, I think it's the 3rd page of the application, does show illustrations of what the fence would be.
Where does it say that that is the fence?
If you look on the one page, you can see that there's another type of fence there that looks like it's got the corrugated metal.
Right, however, that also looks like a stock rendering from a low.
I don't I don't know that. I look at blueprints every day. In the application, the project description, the last sentence states patio area to be completely redone to neutralize seating and ease of access. That doesn't tell me if they're even putting a fence in.
So to take a step back and look at this entire process, okay? So on Sunday, July 23rd, an application was submitted to Sue Leahy, who is going on vacation that week, and myself and Karen Branchek to submit a certificate of appropriateness to the Historic Preservation Commission for this project. This included what you have in your packet, okay? There is a picture here, a rendering done by Craig T-Bon as part of it, showing a mock-up of a fence and a garage door, okay? Pole Ash Construction is the contractor on the application, and it describes a fence. The fence is submitted here. These are all very similar fences, correct? They're
The
all
exception of the lower right.
lower one with lights, so they may put lights on. This is on private property, but the concept here is to install a fence around that area in this style. Okay? It cannot easily be dictated on this rendering because of the ability to make transparent, okay? So the rendering is merely a rendering. The specific materials are listed right here and were provided to the commission. The applicant was on vacation and could not attend the meeting. I was in another meeting, had understanding of this, walked into that meeting, and the decision had already been made, okay? Upon the end of that meeting, I was asked to contact the building inspector and contact the applicant to provide further clarification of the materials for the fence and the garage door, okay? Because there were some questions that were brought forward by the commission members, and that they would have a special meeting. After that meeting, the Thursday morning after, I called the applicant and requested additional information and said, we need to move this forward quickly, right? Because we have a common council meeting coming up on Tuesday. And if they were to have a special meeting, the special meeting would have to occur either at that point Friday or Monday, okay? In that time, I had talked to the mayor and the city attorney, as well as Commission Member Gallops, regarding the overall request that was submitted to the Historic Preservation Commission. And through the process, I also learned that this project is looking to get permitted quickly. They would like to be open by September 7th, okay? If there would have been a delay past this meeting, the soonest the Common Council would meet again would be August 28th, okay? That would provide them about 10 days to complete their project and open, which would not be sufficient. I had a follow-up conversation with the applicant on Monday morning ahead of the packets going out, because it is my understanding that in the code, the Common Council issues officially the certificate of appropriateness, okay? So through that understanding and through people not being at the meeting to provide clarity, whether it was because they're on vacation or I was literally here in another meeting to answer questions that may have led to that, you know, we didn't feel like, you know, the packet was getting out a little bit later, so we were trying to give Jen and Susan time to submit information so you could schedule a meeting. The reality became is that the application would not have changed, okay? Because the answer to the garage door question is Pole Ash Construction is sourcing the door. If you want an example, look at Knuth's Brewing Company. The answer to the fence was we provided you pictures. Pole Ash Construction has to custom build or fabricate a fence, so we can't provide you an actual rendering of what it's going to look like, but here are the conditions that we are having them design under, right? It is a steel or a post fence black with wire between it. So because the building inspector certificate of appropriateness is issued by this body to move this project forward because of all of these factors, it was brought before you and put on the agenda.
Well, we have a bit of a kerfluffle with everyone. First of all, I am a process person and I like process, so I understand John's frustration with process. Second, as part of the kerfluffle, you have another building downtown with garage doors that never even came for approval. So there's another procedural issue that has to be dealt with, and I don't know how administration would choose to deal that if you're dealing with the contractor or the business owners when these things are noticed because it didn't come forward. And my third point is, having worked in economic development for many years at the government level, sometimes government just needs to get out of the way. And because we have internal issues with process doesn't mean we should be penalizing a business owner who wants to reopen a very well-liked and respected restaurant in downtown Ripon. So I will ask the council to consider that on this one occasion, we get out of the way, and then we go back and we fix our own internal stuff here. That includes the process downtown, in which you have people who are just doing whatever they want without even talking to the Historic Preservation Committee.
And the only thing that we are asking you to do tonight is to consider this topic without a recommendation, positive or negative, from the Preservation Commission. It has always been your power to grant or deny the permits or the certificates of appropriateness, but this time we're asking you to consider it one way or the other without the recommendation. Howard, then back to John.
I have a question, I guess it'd be to John. Your committee didn't take any action on this.
Correct.
Did you request additional information, and who did you request that from?
Like Adam said, once he got into the meeting, and after the meeting, he found out that we didn't take any action on it, he volunteered to call the owners with my understanding, and it could have just been my understanding, that he was going to contact us so we could call for the special meeting.
So then you guys, your committee asked Adam for additional information, or was that not asked?
I don't think we asked him. It was a mutual conversation that, yes, Adam's going to get the additional information.
Okay, because then you were under the assumption it was going to come back to your committee?
Right. I figured we'd get Thursday.
That's the
we'd
normal
get
process.
Get the information and call a special, post it. We need 24-hour notice. So I don't know the exact time that we would have got the information, but we could have posted it and either had the meeting Friday or Monday.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that everybody's on the same page, that yes, information was requested, or no information was not requested by the committee, so that we have that proper.
As the person who requested the information on Thursday morning.
You requested.
I asked them for additional information.
Yeah, but I mean,
When
I was asking, did the committee
I received no additional response until I called Monday morning, when I had to get a packet out to determine if
Yeah.
this agenda was going to have this line item.
Right.
And the answer was, our application is submitted. Our example of the garage door, look at Drive By Knuth's Brewing Company.
Right.
We cannot provide you any more clear information about the fence because it's being fabricated, but what we submitted to you is the fence. That's the design of the fence.
Yeah.
So they would not have submitted any different information to the Historic Preservation Commission.
Yeah, no, I'm just asking, was information requested or was
Yes,
it not?
It was. It was
From-
requested.
The committee requested the information.
and I
Okay.
requested it.
And
Yep.
that's all I wanted to know is, was it asked for? Did it get back to the
And had I
committee?
received it, I would have forwarded it on.
Yep,
But it was just Monday morning came around and
exactly. Okay, that's all. I just wanted to make sure so that everybody was on the same page there, that the additional information had been requested and gotten back to the committee with the additional information.
Today, or
Yesterday.
Yesterday, I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
okay.
and somewhat today, yeah, yesterday.
Well, as one, I know you were holding off on delivering our packets, but as one who's busy in this community also with many other things, I sure the heck would have liked to have had more than 24 hours to sit down and read through everything and make sure that I knew what the heck was going on, as I'm sure several of my cohorts here would have enjoyed the same thing. It just seems like lately, getting the packets out to us has become later and later all the time. And I understand we have to hold it sometimes for special things. But, it used to be for a Monday or Tuesday meeting, we would get the packets on Friday, maybe Saturday morning, we'd have the weekend to sit down and read, because I like to go through line by line and check things out. Didn't have time to do
Do my
this.
best.
I understand that, but it's kind of tough to digest everything in a short amount of time when you don't have a lot of time to do it. So, but thank you for your answer on the information request.
As city attorney, I'd like to clarify, the mayor misspoke when he said the city attorney agreed that the application was complete. Had no discussion with the city administrator or the mayor regarding whether the application was complete. My position, and Ellen stole my thunder.
I'm sorry.
Ultimately, you just nailed it. It's process over substance. And at the end of the day, the mayor did a good job, and I think John did a good job in response to debate the nuances of the ordinance, but the ultimate authority lies with this body. So the idea that this one may have been a product of some misunderstanding, the scheduling of vacations by the building inspector and by the applicant, and so the applicant is not innocent in all this, because I agree with John, and I would agree with any commission, that the preference is to have the applicant available to clarify the application that was made. I think the discussion that has been had on the record is absolutely clear. This is before you with your ultimate authority to be able to grant or not grant a certificate of appropriateness. Clearly, you have the right under the ordinance or under just your ability to render that decision to send this back to the Historic Preservation Commission. I think the reason have been clearly stated here, that this is a business that we all understand was an operating concern, that is regrouping and deciding to reopen with a different nuance of how they're going to conduct their business. The fencing may have discouraged some, the current fencing may have discouraged some customers, may have led to not feeling comfortable with the retail end of their business. I don't know. I don't know how that came about. The city administrator is simply trying to be a city administrator by forwarding this to the Common Council this evening. So it isn't like he's trying to go around the commission. He did follow comments from the commission in the sense that find out what is this evening as an officer of your body, that is what he learned in this process. So we're here this evening, it's on the agenda. I believe that the ordinance allows you, and I think the mayor did a good job of pointing out the ultimate authority of the Common Council, but you certainly are free. It's your body that will determine the future. But I think the discussion was very good, and all comments have been to the point, and other than just that misstatement by the mayor, that I had no involvement in whether this is a complete application. From a reading of the ordinance, for the issuance of the certificate of appropriateness lies with this body. Thank you.
I apologize.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I just don't want anybody.
Okay, so,
My turn. Oh, no, let Doug go.
so we have, I see that we have possibly a process problem, and I think we need to re-examine that historic preservation ordinance in the future to smooth stuff like this out and make things more clear. But my point is, it seems to me there's already a fence there. Am I right, for that patio? Yes, I've walked by it many times. So the big thing is that garage door. And that the garage door is going to be like Canoes. The question is it's got to fit with that building. That's something that we want done for the historic district.
It used to be a garage.
It used to be,
I
it used to be a car dealership.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was before my time here.
Yeah.
Garage
Yeah,
doors
there
there.
were garage doors there.
It's been a lot of things since
That's
I
not
moved here.
Sean,
Okay, we can spin this 10 different ways. What Doug just said, I will read again the project description. The addition of a commercial glass garage door. We had no problem with the garage door. Adam stated the fence. Nowhere in that application is there a fence mentioned. I'm protecting my people on the Historic Preservation Commission so they do not look like idiots. We did not do this on purpose. We want it complete, and it says in there, sufficient detail and scope to enable the commission to readily understand the nature of the proposed work. If you guys want to do it and pass it through, so be it. If this is the deciding body to do it, if you don't want to take our Preservation Commission insight on it, then why have a Preservation Commission? Second, no one answered my second question, is what's going to stop the next person from saying, I got to get my job done right away. I need this fast-tracked. Lud, you're legal.
this,
So everybody can come in and say, I don't want to deal with historic preservation, I want to fast-track it, Adam, push it to council.
Yeah, failing to go through to the commission, I think, would be a fatal flaw. These people did go to the commission.
Okay.
Albeit, maybe some,
still think it's-
that's why I said, I did not weigh in on the completeness of the application, and I will not be tied to that. Obviously, it's a timing thing now that I think everybody in this room is aware of, that yes, you could have had a special meeting, but maybe you wouldn't have a special meeting.
We would have.
Okay, and I'm not saying you wouldn't.
Yes.
But ultimately, that decision, whatever that was, and it can come to this body on a recommendation of denial. This body can still act. Would you concede that point?
I know you, yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
that's
you can-
important.
We can pass something, you can deny it.
Exactly. That's a clarification for purposes of today. Now, you didn't pass on it.
Correct.
And your question of what good is the commission if they don't get to weigh in on it, that's an excellent point. Nobody can argue that point. The key would be, in this particular situation, given the clarification that's been brought forward this evening, the ultimate decision maker is the Common Council. So whether you met again and approved it, it'd have to come back to the Common Council. Or if you denied it, it'd have to come back to the Common Council. And the timing of that would be then the City Council holding a special meeting to expedite, to avoid the timing issue of the end of the month versus September 7th reopening. And that's really where the rubber hits the road. So the fact scenario that's here this evening is not bypassing the commission. The commission had some of the information. Your argument is certainly there and should be as a chair to say, we don't believe it was a complete application. It's now coming before the Common Council. The Common Council's got to make a decision. Do we move forward and vote on this, or do we send it back to the Historic Preservation Commission? Those are the two choices. So the precedent setting, I don't see that. I never see that when there was a meeting called and information was given to the commission, and clarification should have been from the building inspector and the applicant. But again, we're talking a timing issue. And that's where Ellen's comments were really, whether getting government out of the way is the phrasing of it, or are we just getting to the heart of the matter? You certainly can say, as a Common Council, we would never approve this even if they did, okay? Which is the ultimate question, all right? And if they didn't, would you approve it? That's what's here before this evening. I don't think there's any missing pieces now. We know the fence is going to look like that, and we know the garage door is going to look like that. Those are the two pieces of information that make this move forward or not move forward. That's the way I see it this evening. And clarification as to whether this could ever happen again, no, I don't think it happens again like this, ever again.
That's your opinion.
No, I understand, and I'm
see it
just giving you
happening.
my opinion.
Listen,
see it happening.
John,
Yes.
you guys had two choices, yes or no, and you did neither one. Doing neither one, to me, is the same as saying no. So if we need to fix an ordinance saying they have to make two choices, yes or no, on the certificate of appropriateness, then we'll have to do it. But not doing anything is like saying no, in my
No,
opinion.
No, it's not. This has happened in the past, Doug, and we have,
Accommodated and made special.
Yes, and we've
No,
had special
again, I don't think
meetings.
anybody's trying to impugn the
I know,
Historic
I just-
Preservation Commission. I think I want to make that very clear.
my
I don't think
point,
anybody in this room,
No.
and certainly from the administration side, the mayor included, is trying to say, historic preservation, you're really not useful. I don't think anybody
I
wants to.
disagree
infer
with
that.
you there.
Well, you can infer that, but I think that's wrong, because it's a very important body.
Yeah.
We have adopted a downtown historic district, we have manuals, we have reasons why business owners should, and Ellen raised the point, if a business owner didn't, we have to deal with that question. But that's a different question than we have this evening. Thank you.
My last point, the fence was never on the application. I want everybody to know that it was not on the application. The word fence was never on there. And again, I'm just protecting the people on historic preservation. Thank you.
Doug, then Ellen.
I think I already took my turn.
Okay, Ellen.
I move that we approve the certificate of appropriateness for 333 Watson Street as, I might need help with this language, as a Lud, help me with the language. It would be a
Non-precedent setting?
yes,
Yeah, you could use
non-precedent
that.
setting.
That, as to this application only.
Correct.
That's the way you should phrase your
Okay.
motion. As to this application only, and I think you're basing it on timing.
Yes, my issue is the timing issue. I think we have some procedural issues we need to clear up. But again, I don't want a business in the downtown area not to be able to open on time.
Is there a second to that motion?
And that's to approve the application to include the fence reconstruction and the modification for the garage door.
Correct.
Just so it's clear what you're approving.
If I may, Lud, you just
Yeah.
said fence.
Before-
I'm looking at this letter here from the city, and it says barrier. That sounds
Okay, all right.
better than
That's fine.
fence.
Thank you. Thank you.
Because there are so many variations of
Thank you,
fence.
thank you.
But a barrier
I like
is a
that word
barrier.
better, I didn't.
That's all I wanted to.
Is there a second to Ellen's motion?
I'll make a second just so we can decide what we're going to do. I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Motion's made by Ellen, second made by Doug. John?
Could I have a roll call vote? And I just want to state that the owners of Jay's Barbecue know exactly how I stand on this, and it's a procedural problem, and that's how I'm going to make my vote, so, thank you.
Yes, we will have a roll call vote on this. Any further discussion?
Yes.
David?
First of all, Jay's did nothing wrong. And if we'd have had the information that we got from Adam after the meeting, I can't speak for John or anyone else, but I would have passed this. And Ellen's right. We had procedural problems, and that's what caused this. Jay's didn't cause it. We didn't cause it on our Historic Preservation Committee. It was just a problem from the get-go. And I don't believe an owner needs to be perfect in their application. But our intent as a Historic Preservation Committee is to protect the downtown and the integrity of the downtown. And I just don't, but we do have to fix this. Obviously, it's not working. So whatever we can do after we do this tonight, I do want to make sure this passes for Jay's. I would have liked just to had a straight up and down vote on it, but, you know, we can, however we want to do it. I mean, you kind of got a little provision in there. Exactly what does that provision mean that you put in there?
That this is the only exception,
Yes, we're making an exception.
one exception.
Yes. I don't like doing that. I think we should know there's a problem here, recognize the problem and fix it.
And that's what the motion was.
Yeah, and I understand.
But we don't have it again. That's what Ellen said.
Yeah.
But we're here today and we have the issue. Because
But-
John's points are well taken,
Oh, yeah.
very well taken.
Yeah,
You're contradicting yourself saying that this can never happen again because it has to go through the Preservation Commission first.
Yes, that's what Ellen
Now
is
we're
saying.
making a provision that states that this can never happen again.
That
That's what Ellen's saying.
This approval.
You're saying the same
But
thing.
you're making an exception in this case.
Yeah, it did go through your committee. And I do want to state, this is really the only functioning committee here at Ripon. And you know that. And I can understand your concern. But the fact remains, we have an internal process issue.
yes.
And we don't want this type of thing. We don't want people coming directly to the council. We want people to go through historic preservation. But we also don't want to punish this business.
That was the context of the one-off. So I
Yeah.
understand hearing her motion, she was responding to John's point. We don't want people bypassing, if this could be construed as bypassing. And that is an argument that the commission is sort of making through John, is that you're kind of bypassing the commission, you're not giving us a chance to reschedule the meeting and see it again. And that was the one-off that
Yeah. Well,
included in her motion, that we're not endorsing going directly to the council.
Yeah.
we just need to remember, we do need to pass this tonight strictly because Jay's needs to get going. I mean, that's something we just have to do, and then after this, we'll worry about what's going on, because we have people's livelihoods at risk right now. And let's pass this and move on. And then we're going to fix this.
Any further discussion? One last time, any further discussion? A roll call vote.
Iverson,
Yes.
Hanson. Hanson,
Yes.
Gallops,
Yes?
Bernert,
Yes.
Gotsky,
No.
Sorensen,
Yes.
Split.
No.
Motion carries 5-2.
Thank you. All right, moving into our agenda items. First item is a pay application for the State Street project. City staff recommends approving pay application number 1 for $21,185.
You looking for a motion?
Yes, I am.
I'll make a motion to approve pay application number 1 for the State Street reconstruction project totaling $21,185.
Yeah.
I will second.
Been moved by Doug, seconded by David. Any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving pay application for the State Street project, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Next action item is memorandum of understanding between the City of Ripon and the RPPA, Ripon Police
Professional police
Professional Police Administration, or Association, sorry about that. Apologize for slaughtering that. This is basically mostly a pay issue as well as a lateral transfer. Purpose of this was to improve retention and improve recruitment for replacements. With the nature of the economy right now and with the state aid change, police departments are all raising pay, and we have to try to keep up so we don't lose very good officers that we have. Ellen?
And what, I used to negotiate this stuff. Am I correct in reading that there'll be a migration of health insurance over to the city plan? Or do they, no?
They already have the city.
Oh, they have already the
Yes.
city plan?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure, I guess, if they had because they were in the middle of a
Their
contract.
contract is locking the rates that they pay,
Yep, I see that.
but they are on the city plan.
Okay,
That will be required to change in the next contract renewal,
okay,
so.
okay, thank you.
David?
Did they approve the contract?
Yes, they have approved the contract.
Okay. Well, I'll make a motion, we approve the memorandum of understanding
I'll
between the
second.
City of Ripon and Ripon Professional Police Association.
I'll second.
Thanks for saying that much better than I did. Moved by David, seconded by Ellen. Any discussion or questions?
I can explain this to you
he
if you
can
would like
certainly.
to understand the full totality of this, right? So currently, this is a recruitment and retention proposal. The idea is to try to, we have seen some turnover in the police department. Applications for open positions are at all-time lows. Experienced officers at the 3-year lateral that we had established, it's not enticing someone who's been in an organization for longer, making more money, to come to an organization to make less. So we would expand the lateral transfer to a 10-year, which would allow someone, a fully trained officer, essentially in another organization, to come to Ripon and be an officer at the 10-year rate. The overall pay scale would also be modified to eliminate an 8-year, add a 7-year, and extend out to a 10-year. The idea being that more tenured officers have another step in the increase to make more money and stay longer, as well as addressing sergeant pay. There will also be a one-time lateral entry adjustment for those who came into our organization in the last few years prior to lateral adjustments. Overall, this would go into effect the next payroll, which would be in a couple weeks. It would have about a $6,000 to $7,000 impact on the 2023 budget. And then obviously next year we would use the new rates in place for the budget, which would be generally offset by shared revenue increase.
John?
This may be a dumb question, but since this is a union, are these hourly rates, are these standard throughout the union, or is this unique to Ripon?
Oh, this is unique to Ripon.
To Ripon,
So
okay.
so and part of this too is what we have seen is our officers are leaving for organizations that are paying higher than our rate, right? And what we are using for comps, say like Reedsburg, Baraboo, communities that are 8,000, 9,000 people, that's not who we're competing against. We're competing against the Fox Valley Beaver Dam for police officers. So this is arguably the largest, investment in our police department wage-wise in the history of this community by passing this. This is a significant increase in how we're approaching the wage structure, but it's independent to the city with information collected throughout the state to try to get to a number that makes sense for Ripon. Because we can use communities between 5,000 and 10,000 people, but that doesn't mean that that's where we're competing for talent with. We're competing against Fond du Lac County, the Valley, all of those areas, which are paying arguably way more than what we're paying. So we're just trying to remain relevant in our pace and making this adjustment.
So when you note the fiscal impact for 2023, that's based upon the adjustments to individual officers, sergeants that are on the force now.
On the force now, yes.
So that retention part of it is being addressed. And then obviously there may be a greater fiscal impact if you hire somebody under this.
There very well could be a greater fiscal impact from an hourly rate perspective, but the advantage to hiring someone, a 10-year lateral transfer, is that we don't have to invest tens of thousands of dollars in their training. And that is what we're experiencing, and you know, there are people that may be interested in our department, but they're not going to take a $10,000 pay decrease to come work in Ripon. So, you know, a 10-year lateral is a pretty aggressive offer. And, you know, we were capped out at 3 previously, but we hope that as we see more transition in the department, and as we see wages in policing become far more competitive, one of the communities I mentioned, Reedsburg, they just went to negotiation this past year. They had a 13% increase over a 2-year period. So they're seeing, you know, that's what they're seeing in the market out there. So there is going to be, I can't guarantee it, but my prediction is there will be a significant increase in police wages in the state of Wisconsin now that the shared revenue issue has been dealt with, because we have to maintain police officers as a maintenance of effort component. And there are a lot of communities that are struggling with retention and recruitment of officers. And you will see communities that are, you know, larger communities begin to pay a lot of money. The chief isn't here. He supports the proposal. It allows them to hopefully cast a wider net with recruitment and bring in applicants, you know, with more experience.
Thank you.
Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the memorandum of understanding between the City of Ripon and the Ripon Professional Police Association, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Thank you. All right, project updates and staff reports. Naomi, you have anything?
I have one minor little thing. I just wanted to clarify that I know we talked about the packet going out late, and what I have to say is my client had a procedure on Friday, it's not in the office, and that's what it's about. So I'm to blame for that.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Apologies.
We'll accept it this one time.
Is that a motion?
Adam?
Only updates I really have, you have my report. So the Chamber of Commerce and I are working on a business retention and expansion program, so we'll go public with that hopefully in the next few weeks. We are working as staff on a CDBG public facilities grant income survey on Pacific, Washington, and Hamburg. So we'll go through, we went through one phase of surveys, we'll do another phase of surveys coming, and then we'll go door to door. Other than that, you can kind of see everything else I wrote. I will announce the senior center director now. We had about 7 applicants for the position. Ashton and I interviewed 3 finalists. So we will be hiring Christine Loish. Christine is a Ripon native. She lives a stone's throw away from the Senior Activity Center. She has over 30 years of experience in fundraising and nonprofit management. She holds a bachelor's degree in industrial design from Syracuse University. She's managed major events and fundraising efforts throughout her career and has direct experience working with the senior population, more recently with the United Way and the Easter Seals Goodwill organizations. Her first day will be tomorrow.
Nice.
So we are excited to welcome Christine and see her take the directorship of the Senior Activity Center.
Do you want to give them an audit, a status update on the audit?
Oh, yes. Well, so we're going through our preliminary budget. Thank you for reminding me about finances, because I'll do this all in one. Our audit from CLA, we would normally have that presented to you ahead of the budget. That is being delayed because of some of the issues with a component unit fund to the fire district. So we will not be able to release our audit and to the council until those issues are resolved in the financial statements of the city. So, I don't want, that could be later on this year, could be a few months from now, it could be next year. We could be doing the 2022 audit in 2024. So just wanted to provide you that. Preliminary budgets are coming out. So every budget cycle starts with your projections. Obviously, this year with the shared revenue increase, it's a little bit better of a situation entering the budget. Our equalized value for the city increased by 12%. The major component of that was residential. So we've been on a roller coaster with our equalized value over the past few years. It going down 7%, it going up 8%, and now it going up 12%. That doesn't immediately mean anything other than that's the state's valuation of the community that is used to calculate out tax rates and other things. But it just is kind of what is a metric used within the budget, as well as our borrowing capacity. So increasing it by 12%, that affords us another approximately $3 million of borrowing capacity, right? Our TIF districts, we can only have 12% of our equalized value in TIF districts before we can create a new TIF district. Last year, we were at about 12.3%. So we were getting closer. We closed the TIF district, and this year we ended at 12.82%. We actually went up because of the growth within our TIF districts. That creates some challenges, but all of which we have talked with Ellers that we can overcome if we have to create a new TIF district. But overall, some of that TIF growth will be helpful. And then it comes down to net new construction. What can you increase your levy by? And that is net new construction, which I believe off the top of my head came back at 0.57%, which is about a third of what it was last year. So we will be going into the budget with the ability to raise the tax levy by approximately, don't hold me to this, but $6,000-ish. So obviously, as we budget, the shared revenue will become critical because our limited ability to increase taxes, short of the 0.57% in state statute, is limiting us to do other things. So we'll continue to work through the budget with some of these wage numbers. Now we'll be able to do more and add the next layer to the budget. So we will continue scheduling that out into August and September. That's all I have.
Thank you, Adam. I have no statements or appointments for this evening. Any comments or future agenda items? Doug?
Can we get started on the ordinance language for the Community Development Authority, CDA? What we talked about, was it last council meeting?
Yeah.
We don't have to have people in place for it, but I think we need to get that going into the ordinance.
An update on that is the administration is working to create that, and crossing every T and dotting every I, making sure we do it correct is more important than rushing something out.
Not looking to rush it, I'm just looking to move it forward.
Yes, we are there. Adam and his team are certainly still working on that and trying to do it right as opposed to doing it quick.
I appreciate all the hard work, I just don't want to lose this off the map, so.
I don't think he'll forget it.
Good, good.
It's very important to him. Harry.
Can there be a possibility of looking into the procedural guidance towards the historic preservation committee and dealing with those, and any particular deviations from the community from actually pursuing the certificate of appropriateness?
I can comment on that. We're already in planning stages of a sit-down with our commission, Adam, Craig T-Bond, and maybe we'd get Lud in there if we need some type of legal advice, or we would just ask him after the meeting. But we are planning on doing that to streamline the application and make sure it's very understandable to
Okay.
the applicant.
Will that also include, like you had commented earlier, that Knuth has gone and installed the garage doors, but no certificate of appropriateness was ever issued for that, because it was never brought to,
Right, it was never brought to our attention
right?
on the
So
commission.
is that going to be addressed, how we're going to handle situations like that?
Yes, I think so. I mean, it's in the ordinance that there's a monetary, violation that you could levy on that person, but we don't ever want to do that. But yeah, we're going to address that.
Okay.
Anyone else? All right, at this time, I would seek a motion to adjourn to closed session under Wisconsin Statute 19.851E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business, whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. The topics of discussion will be the Annie Star Woods, a CDBG housing loan forgiveness request, as well as reviewing minutes from our last closed session.
So moved. What you said.
Second.
Been moved by Ellen, seconded by John. All those in favor of adjourning to closed session, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned to closed session.